Multiple Lakers moves are imminent. Is following the Lakers making a big splash by waiving Cam Reddish in order to convert Jordan Goodwin. A new report has dropped revealing that more moves are on the horizon. We're going to break down those moves and discuss what it means going forward for this team. But before we get into it, folks, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, about 90% of you who are watching this video right now aren't subscribed. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and bear with the setup. I'll be back to my normal setup on Sunday. I am traveling. But ladies and gentlemen, some big news dropped yesterday that Hunter covered surrounding Jordan Goodwin, and of course him being converted in lieu of Cam Reddish being waived. A new report has dropped revealing that new moves are on the horizon, and this could get and will get very interesting for the Lakers. And let's dive right into it. So we can give a little bit of backstory here. And the Lakers, of course, coming off of a game I'm not going to talk about because yesterday was absolutely brutal. LeBron James, all these different things against the Bulls, Josh Giddey, whatever. Yesterday, we know the Lakers are converting two-way Jordan Goodwin to a standard NBA contract, making him playoff eligible. Goodwin has emerged as a key reserve for Redick, averaging 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 20 minutes a game. And the subsequent move was waiving Cam Reddish to create roster space for Jordan Goodwin. And Jordan Goodwin has grabbed at least one offensive rebound in 18 of his 19 games played, providing a spark for the Lakers off the bench, which is a pretty funny stat, but it is true. I mean, he's a great rebounding guard in this league. Now, this is interesting for a few different reasons. Obviously, one, we know that they converted, Jordan Goodwin. The big question was, who are they going to waive? And Alex Len has survived this first move, I guess the first wave of cuts. But following this report from Shams, you now have a new tweet here from Bobby Marks, a new report. Reddish was on an expiring $2.4 million contract. The Lakers are still well positioned below the second apron to convert or sign another player and remain under. They would need to create a roster spot. Now, this one becomes very, very interesting. We'll have subsequent videos coming out revealing who this may be and things like that. But the immediate thought here is that A, the Lakers aren't done making moves. And again, there's not long, 10 games or so left till the playoffs. A bit more than that. We also just saw Taylor Jenkins get fired, which we'll dive into a little bit later. But regardless of that, according to this report, there's going to be more moves on the horizon for the Los Angeles Lakers in the form of somebody else getting cut. You can see the last sentence there. They would need to create a roster spot. Now, as you start to look at who A would be cut, you have to assume Alex Len, but we'll dive into it. Who could be cut? And then B, who are they going to try to convert? It opens up a lot of different question marks here because obviously the clear-cut player that needed to make the team and be converted to a full-time contract in order to make the playoff roster was Jordan Goodwin. He was in JJ Redick's lineup. He was in his rotations, and he's been playing extremely good basketball, especially as of late. So it makes all the sense in the world to have him be the one who was converted to that full-time deal. Now, with that being said, we know a report dropped a week or so ago from Jovan Buha. LA is expected to move on from two veterans, and Jovan Buha said LA may waive Reddish and Len. According to the Athletics' Jovan Buha, the team is expected to part ways with Cam Reddish and recently signed center Alex Len. Now, we covered this on the channel. It was, of course, pretty big news at the time, and the first domino of this has dropped. However, Jovan Buha, and I do want to make this clear, just take it with a grain of salt here, because Buha did come out after and say that that's not explicitly what he said, that he didn't say that necessarily for sure that Cam Reddish and Alex Len will be waived. He was just kind of hinting at it, but he didn't say that directly, so take it with a grain of salt. Regardless, though, he was right with the first one being, of course, Cam Reddish being waived in favor of Jordan Goodwin here. And Jordan Goodwin obviously is at the point now where he's going to be a staple going forward. But as you start to look at two-way guys that could take their place, the Lakers indeed move on from Reddish and Len. Reddish is already gone. Their replacements could very well be in-house. Now, obviously, we'll remove Jordan Goodwin out of this equation because the Lakers have already converted him. But the other two options for players that are currently on two-ways, meaning that they can be converted to standard contracts and still play in the playoffs, is Christian Koloko and Jemison. They've all played solid enough to warrant consideration for a standard contract. Any pairing of them would be worthy of a promotion. Head coach JJ Redick has raved about his two-way players, telling Spectrum Sportsnet we've gotten incredible value out of those guys and love having them in our program. Now, again, the deadline is passed for signing new players and them being available to go to the playoffs. However, if you're on a two-way contract, you have until either A, your amount of games runs out, which is the case of Jordan Goodwin, and that's why they extended him yesterday, or B, or not extended him, but converted him, or B, of course, you can convert them from their two-way contract to an NBA contract, which means they can play in the playoffs. Now, I want you to let me know down below, out of Christian Koloko and Jemison, who would you prefer the Lakers go out and get? And by get, I mean, who would you rather they convert for the playoffs and actually allow to play in the playoffs? Because the big question mark now is between Christian Koloko and Jemison. And the article, this article drops a pretty good insight on which one would be most likely here. So Koloko returned to the NBA floor. We know he had the blood clot issue, drafted by the Raptors, 31st pick, all these different things, or 32nd pick, whatever it was. Despite frequent foul trouble, the 24-year-old has served as a viable lob threat for the Lakers this year. 34 games off the bench, he's averaged 2 points and 2 rebounds. He's more of an athletic lob threat type of player, a guy who can play pretty well alongside Luka Doncic, especially offensively. He's very, much better at catching lobs than Trey Jemison. He's going to be more active offensively. However, Trey Jemison, he's a fan favorite, and he's also stronger. He has the enforcer mentality signed by LA. I mean, we've all watched them play. They both do different things. I think Trey Jemison's probably a better defender, a little bit more athletic, and definitely stronger. That's, the assets that he brings. However, he's also become an energizer off the bench. So let me know down below between these two players which you think the Lakers should go after, because, again, they're probably going to waive Alex Len. And at this point, Alex Len has not done enough to warrant, I would rather Christian Koloko or Trey Jemison than Alex Len at this point. Len doesn't rebound. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't really do anything. He's had one game where he looked okay, and it was an all garbage time anyways. You see this here with the Lakers ravaged by injury bug and the postseason fast approaching. It's clear that changes are in order. Of course, Reddish is already gone. Len is going to be the next one up. And, adding the two-way guys could just be very helpful in general. I do ultimately think that they probably go with Christian Koloko would be my, my gut instinct here, but it's going to be very interesting to see how they actually go about replacing, Alex Len. He hasn't been good. They should have clearly went with somebody else, because if they could have signed a guy like JaVale McGee or whoever else was available, Larry Nance ultimately didn't become available, but if they try to persuade him away from Atlanta, all these different things, it would have been at a point where you would have been able to have a better option come playoff time, because now you're kind of stuck between these two guys for the most part as it pertains to the playoffs. So it is going to be interesting and something to keep an eye on going forward, because, again, they made the first domino fell. They got rid of Cam Reddish. He wasn't playing at all, and Jordan Goodwin needed to be converted. And it does make sense as to why they went with Cam Reddish first. They have an abundance of wings now, especially with Rui Hachimura healthy. You have Dorian Finney-Smith. You have LeBron James. You have Luka Doncic, who's a point forward, point guard, whatever you want to call him. Big 6'7", 6'8". So it's at the point now where you didn't really need Cam Reddish. He wasn't providing anything, even though he's a season removed from starting 21 or so games. So it's very interesting to see how things change in this league, especially with Cam Reddish. But they still need big men. And that's why they kept Alex Len for now. And I guess they're going to choose between Trey Jemison and Christian Koloko, according to Bible Marks here. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. A couple other things before we do wrap up here. Luka Doncic spoke out on the emotions of yesterday's brutal half-court buzzer-beating loss. It's hard to lose like that. We basically had the game in our hands when you lose like that. It's hard, especially on a back-to-back when I think we fought hard. It's hard to lose like that. And again, they were coming off of a win the day before against the Pacers, in which LeBron James hit a buzzer beater, and then came full circle. LeBron kind of cost them the game, and we'll have another video on that, but LeBron kind of cost them the game yesterday against the Bulls with a costly turnover, giving up threes and things like that. And as you start to look at the standings now, it's a tight race. Taylor Jenkins just got fired from the Grizzlies, something you rarely see this close to the playoff time. I mean, a very good team, a playoff team, after losing yesterday, they fired their head coach. It's making its rounds across the NBA. It's a bit ridiculous, quite frankly, and very unexpected to see that. It is ridiculous. And the Lakers do play Memphis in their next game, so they're going to be going up against an intern coach, and that interim coach hopefully is going to be, he's still going to be getting his things together, but there's going to be a long line of teams waiting for Taylor Jenkins this offseason. Final thing from Luka Doncic, we got to figure out how to all play together, and it's true. The teams looked a little bit discombobulated. The defense looks bad. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news, so make sure to hit the subscribe button. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Cheers.